Hey there, all you cool, epic, and awesome fans, followers, and listeners. Welcome to episode 60 of the Cool, Epic, Awesome podcast. My name is Matt, and I'll be your co host today.
And I'm your other co-host, Joe.
And it's pretty crazy that this is the 60th
Yeah.
episode. We've come a long way. I
You
didn't
know,
think
it's
we'd
not-
make it this far, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I never think we get to I don't know, 60. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. But it's getting to a point where, like, I'm pretty sure some of the movies that we reviewed when they came out, like sequels to those movies,
Yeah, I was
are
actually
like
just
coming
gonna
out
mention.
soon.
I was just gonna mention because I was looking at. We have a doc that we have like before we start recording, and the first image is our first poster that we made for Black Phone, and Black Phone 2 actually just started shooting. So it's kind of funny how far we've come.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
But anyways, for today's episode, we're going to be discussing Venom: The Last Dance, which just came out. I will be discussing Anora, which is going to be an awards favorite.
Yeah.
Hopefully, some great performances in that. And Joe, you recommended Suspiria last episode, so we'll end off with that one.
Yep.
We're also gonna, Halloween season just kind of ended, so we're gonna go through our top 10 horror icons, our favorite horror icons. So I think that'll be fun, especially with like Art the Clown kind of coming into popularity recently. And maybe we both saw Conclave, so maybe we'll talk a
Yeah.
little bit about that at some point. But I guess we could
Yeah.
start things off with Venom. I'll
Yeah, I know you were a big fan of this one.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pull up the synopsis. I'll save it. This is Venom: The Last Dance, or Venom 3. It's directed by Kelly Marcel, and I think she worked as a writer.
Yeah,
or
she was a
something.
writer for all three of them. I think this was her directorial debut, I believe.
Yeah, I'm checking Letterboxd. It seems like it was.
That's kind of wild.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is wild to give her the keys of this franchise.
No, I mean
But
not that it's like this, you know.
it makes a lot of money though. I mean, Sony like relies on this
Yeah.
franchise a lot, but anyways,
But,
all right,
yeah.
here's the synopsis. Eddie and Venom are on the run, hunted by both of their worlds. And with the net closing in, the duo are forced into a devastating decision that will bring the curtains down on Venom and Eddie's last dance. Did I read that right? Hunted by both of their worlds? Yeah, that's a weird phrasing.
That's a weird one, yeah.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
So Venom: The Last Dance. It basically is about Null, who is the creator of all the symbiotes. He somehow is able to start tracking Venom, and it kind of shows him where all of the other symbiotes are going. And Null wants to kill all of them because he made them and they betrayed him. So now that he could track Venom, he sends down like a bunch of his creatures to kill him. It's basically about Venom and Eddie
Well,
trying
no,
to
it's a little
escape
more.
that. That's the basic
He's
plot.
trying to be set free.
Null?
Yeah, he's been imprisoned.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot to. I didn't clarify that, but yeah, the
Yeah,
reason why, like when I said the symbiotes betrayed him, they did that by imprisoning him on his planet, and then dipping.
They say so basically they say there's this thing called the codex. So like anytime like a symbiote brings someone back to life, they create a code. That's what they said, right?
It wasn't like fully clear. It kind of said whenever one of us dies, and they did die apparently at some point.
Yeah, they died in the first one.
So since they died, the codex like unlocked. Really, it's just like a plot point.
It's just
It's not
super important.
But yeah, I was not a big fan of this. I think this is the worst film out of the three by far. I don't know if you agree with me on that.
I feel like it's on par with the rest of them. I don't think it's like that much worse than the other two.
I think there's just way too much shit going on.
Yeah,
it leaned like too much into the comedy as well, a little bit too much.
No, honestly, that's where I disagree. I like that they lean more into the comedy. It obviously isn't like a comic book Venom. They're going for more like the buddy cop kind of vibe, and I like it better when it does that. Like when it's not taking itself seriously. I feel like that's when the movie works the best. Like all the serious stuff with like the military, that's where it loses me. Like I don't care about any of that, you know?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. And when I say serious, I don't mean just, I just want it to be serious.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah,
Like, yeah, there were serious aspects and they might have been the worst part of the film. Like, yeah, the military, that whole subplot was kind of, I don't want to say pointless, but they could have done the null thing without doing that.
without yeah.
But when I say serious, I mean more like Venom should be scary, at least a little bit, or somewhat imposing. He never felt threatening at all throughout the entire movie. He just felt like a joke. He felt like a joke character. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't take the character seriously at all. Which I understand that's what they're going for, but I would at least want him to be imposing in some ways. Like I feel like in the first movie he really was, you know. There's
Yeah.
those scenes of him taking down the cops and stuff.
Yeah.
And he really is, like, scary in a way. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not
he's like a
fu
no, I know,
you know,
he's a monster.
and they just completely abandoned that to go for the one-liners and just the dumb jokes.
But honestly, was him being serious really that good in the other ones?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I like the first the best, and that's the one where they took him the most serious. So, yeah, I
I just
guess.
feel like this movie without Spider-Man, it works best as a comedy. Like Venom without Spider-Man just feels so like it doesn't work like if you want to do a traditional Venom because the motivations don't make any sense. Like like the whole reason why Venom's such a compelling character is because the symbiote hates Spider-Man because he like abandoned it and gets rid of the suit. And at the time in the comics, Eddie Brock's a reporter for the Daily Planet, not Daily Planet, sorry, Daily Bugle, and he gets fired. So like it's supposed to be them kind of teaming up against Spider. So they have it like kind of a like the enemy of man. What is this? What's the phrase?
The enemy of my
The
enemy is
enemy
my
is my
friend.
friend. Yeah. So there's more like kind of motivation to the character. Where for this, there's like no real kind of like the symbiote just kind of finds him and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, like, if we're going into the reasons for these movies even existing in the
Yeah.
first place
No.
without
Yeah.
Spider-Man, like, it doesn't even make
Yeah.
sense to start, but we're already 3 movies in. So, I don't know. I just would have appreciated dialing it back a little bit, but to talk about I know I mentioned all the plot points. We also didn't even mention that random family that just shows up. Like, what was the
Oh
point of
yeah.
that? I
Yeah. I don't.
guess
I
it
don't
was to
understand that.
was it to try to show that Venom and Eddie, like, have a good side and they're these good people?
But like we don't
Like,
even like
there's no
they
point.
established that in the opening scene with them like saving the dogs.
That
Like
family has actually 0 point to the
yeah.
movie at all. You cut them out and nothing changes. Like,
Yeah.
what would change even in the plot? I guess the only thing is they drove him,
Yeah. Yeah. But they could
but
have found a way of getting him to. They could have written another way for him to get to Vegas. Besides,
yeah,
you
they
know,
could have made Venom turn to a hawk.
yeah, that was one thing I wanted to say too. I thought it was really cool that the symbiote like attaches itself to like whole different types of animals and people in this. I thought that was really cool. They've never done that before.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah,
It was, like, goofy.
yeah,
That's where, like, I wouldn't mind the goofiness, stuff like that,
yeah.
but
Like yeah. I thought that was really creative, honestly.
yeah, if it, like, gets to a point where excuse me, sorry, if where I can't take the main character seriously at all, then, it just, like, loses me, and another thing
Yeah,
of losing me and just not being interested was the fight scenes. All of them were pointless because the creatures that Null sent were just completely invincible.
Invincible. Yeah,
Like, one of them gets it's not like, "Oh, yeah, they're really hard to kill." One of them gets sucked through an airplane engine, turns to bits, gets splattered everywhere, and just, like, reconnects itself and
yeah.
comes back to life. So
And they also like spoiler, we're kind of getting spoilers now. There's also a lot of symbiotes in the movie as well. And like these things that I don't know what they're called in the what are they called? Just I guess I'll call them symbiote hunters. They like murk the symbiotes in like 2 seconds. Like it's not even like remember there's
yeah.
one of them that pulls
No,
up and they all well
no, sorry. I noticed this last episode because I have my water bottle with me, and it's like a giant metal bottle. Did you just hear it, like,
yeah
clang?
the clank
Yeah,
yeah
my bad. I gotta, like, stop doing that. But, yeah, so like Joe said, in this movie, they bring in a bunch of symbiotes, which I actually like. I
yeah that
like
was
that.
cool yeah
They just said fuck it and just made a bunch of different symbiotes appear, which is cool in theory, but they don't give any of them any explanation. Even, like, to name them would be cool, like, name drop them,
Yeah.
like,
Like,
I
have
don't
them, like, a
know,
code,
give
like
them
yeah, I
a
don't know,
little more
something.
time, a little more personality.
Yeah.
They introduce, like, 10 at once, and they all just die instantly pretty much,
Yeah.
besides the one that
That one on the
attaches to the
girl.
main girl, yeah, that's like a
Yeah.
speedster for some reason.
No,
I don't
no, that's the one with the knives, I think.
which girl?
Oh, yeah,
The
so
one
there's the one girl that, like oh, yeah, what was the whole thing with her? That was such a weird there's another character that's, like, a doctor there that, like, had her brother killed by a strike of lightning. Like, it was, like, very strange, just
yeah.
unnecessary character. But that's the character that gets, like, the speedster one.
Yes, it keeps bringing up, like, her sh they introd she's, like, one of the main characters in the movie. It's the girl from, Ted Lasso. I forget her
Yeah.
name, but they introduce her. The intro is with Venom, though, no? Or no, it's with Null, right?
Yeah.
It goes from Null, and then it goes to Venom, and then right after that, it goes to her. She's, like, the first other new character introduced, and she's having a nightmare about, like, lightning or something, and
Yeah.
then it's like, oh, her brother died of getting struck by lightning, and he always wanted to be a NASA scientist, so she did it in his honor, and it just, like,
Sure. It's
it
whatever,
keeps,
like
like, what is the point of her
yeah.
character in the story?
I have no idea. Is she someone
There
from the comics or something? Like, that's what I was trying to figure out. She
I don't
has to be
know.
for them to be putting this much, like, backstory into it. You know what I
Like,
mean?
what is even her character arc? Like,
I have no idea.
nothing even happens. Like, it's not like
Yeah.
she gets closure or it's
Yeah, I
just
don't even
so
know, like, what did her brother wanna do at NASA? She just said he wanted to work at NASA.
it's just so strange.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you, I was gonna say, do you have a favorite scene?
I would say, like, the symbiote breakout scene. I thought that was
Yeah,
cool.
I
And
agree.
going into that final act, there was a lot of action, but again, it's like these symbiotes can't defeat the enemies.
Yeah,
So what is the point?
yeah. I
Um,
would've preferred them to just, like, either make that one, like, mad hard to kill so it takes all of them to kill it, or, like, don't have a bunch of them pull up.
yeah, maybe like a couple, like one or two symbiotes, like the purple one, the speedster one, and then maybe
Yeah,
like the two-headed one or something, and at least like
yeah.
give them a little bit of personality, make the
Personality,
fight a
yeah.
little longer instead
Yeah.
of having like 10 of them and they all
I
just
mean,
die
I had a
instantly.
feeling like that girl with the lightning was gonna get one just because like, they wouldn't have explained so much of her story to us.
Yeah,
And that other character,
I had a
the
feeling she was gonna
Christmas,
get
whatever her name
one.
is.
Oh yeah, I had a feeling she was gonna get one because the Fortnite skin. I knew that
Oh, yeah, you're right, you're right.
that female, I think it's Agony, is that what it's called?
Something
Or
like
no,
that, yeah.
something like that. I knew that that was gonna be a character in the movie, and it was just like, "Alright, who's gonna be this symbiote?" And I kinda just figured it would be her.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about the lightning thing, I feel like when they flash back to her brother getting struck by lightning, she was holding his hand.
Yeah, like,
S
they got struck, I think, and he died.
so maybe once the symbiote latched onto her, it, like, the lightning inside of her, like, made her able to
Sure.
run fast or something.
Sure,
Because
whatever.
are
I
these
like
symbiotes supposed to have extra powers besides
I
just
think they're just supposed to, like but I prefer that they, like, make them a little more different. Like, I like because in the first 2 Venom movies, like, does Carnage doesn't really do any Carnage and what's the other guy? Phage? No?
riot, I think?
Riot, I'm sorry. There's nothing really, like, distinctly different about them besides the color that differentiates them from Venom.
Yeah,
I
that's a
like
good
that
point.
in this that they make them at least, like, that character Christmas with the green one, she has, like, the knives or whatever, like, the other one's a two-headed one, there's one that's, like, textured kinda with the big fit like,
Yeah, I
even
like
if it's
the
not comic accurate, like, at least I prefer it to be like that to make them a little more individualized.
yeah, one point we didn't even talk about too is Toxin. I feel
Oh,
like his
yeah,
character was
Toxin actually
underutilized a
yeah,
little
he was
bit, you
actually
know?
pretty cool, like, his character design was really cool. I was kinda tight that they killed him.
Yeah, me too. But I saw something that they interviewed the director and they were like, "Oh, who should Null fight next?" And
Mhm.
she was like, "Toxin." So so is he alive? Like, I don't did he
Unless that
actually
wasn't
survive that?
Toxin.
I think it was though. It had to be
Is there,
because
like,
that's
another
But yeah, his character looked really
Because like,
cool, but he
because
was underutilized.
yeah, Toxin in the comics doesn't look like that.
Yeah, Toxin looks sick in the comics, and his backstory is really cool too.
It's like Carnage's offspring, right?
It's like Carnage and Venom are fighting each other, and like a piece of each of them falls off and like combines into
Oh,
Toxin.
really? Oh, I didn't know
Yeah,
that. I thought it was just like the offspring of Carnage.
I think I have the book.
Yeah, you
It's like
do.
the Venom versus Carnage. It's like his first
Yeah.
appearance.
Actually, yeah, now that I see the design, it actually looks sick.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Yeah.
I wish they did that, but I feel like they didn't want to make a red one because Carnage it would be too similar. But
Yeah.
they could have. I mean,
I saw something uh actually this will we'll talk about this later on. But it has to tie into more of the movie news, but there's like a comic where there's a certain character, we'll talk about that character later, and Toxin together and like in a story, and like I feel like maybe the director was hinting at that.
maybe, maybe. Um,
But
but yeah, just a couple other things I had on the movie. Um, when I was bringing up like how there was a ton of storylines, did you notice there's this one plot element that keeps getting like referred to and just nothing happens with it? It was
well,
the main military guy. He keeps like calling this mysterious figure who they always show him from the back. They don't show who it is. And he's like asking him permission to do stuff. He's like, "Oh, can I do this? Can I do this? Whatever." He's built up as this really like powerful, mysterious person. Just like nothing happens with it. They never explain it. They don't explain who he is. They don't explain
I'm gonna be
who he.
completely honest with you, like I don't even remember that happening.
It definitely happened because
Like,
I mentioned it because
no, I believe you. I
I
just
saw it
like
with dad after, and I mentioned it to him, and I was like, "What the fuck was up with that?"
I believe you. I just like I don't know. I just
Yeah. It's a
there's
very
just so much
forgettable
going
film.
on in the
Yeah.
movie, honestly, that I just probably
Yeah.
it just kind of blended in with the rest of the slop.
Another thing that I also don't like is how none of these movies connect to each other. Like the Sonyverse in general. Like now
Yeah,
we have Morbius, we have Madam Web, we have 3 Venom movies. They
and
haven't connected ever.
there's a not Carnage, a Raven movie coming out like in a month.
Like the biggest connection they had was when Morbius said, "I am Venom."
Yeah,
That's that's
that's the
actually it.
biggest. That's the biggest extent. Well, I guess if you want to count the Vulture and Morbius kind of team up thing,
Yeah, I guess. That's
but
true.
I don't
But
know.
that's still not connecting. Like
No, it's
Venom
not.
Venom was in No Way Home in the post-credit
Yeah.
scene, but that's not like connected to a different Sonyverse movie.
No, you're
Like
right.
at this point, bro, just fucking put Morbius in. Who cares at this point?
I
Like
don't know what are they gonna do next, do you think? I just hope they kinda end it.
I hope they just end it. Yeah, this movie underperformed the previous two, so you could tell there's sort of declining interest in the character.
It's gonna make a profit though, I think though.
Yeah.
Like it
No,
already
it'll make a profit, but it's not
yeah.
gonna be as profitable as the other two.
Nah, didn't the first one make like 700 million or something crazy
Yeah,
like
it
that?
made a ton. That was also when like the big superhero boom was happening though. Like
Yeah.
Aquaman made
Was
a
that
billion randomly.
yeah. That's crazy. Aquaman made $1 billion.
Yeah.
But
Um yeah, just connect them. Like who gives a fuck? That's the whole point of connected universes is to connect them. Not to
they
be like, "Oh,
probably
these all take place in the same world." And then
it's
just
just funny because they probably avoid that like to confuse people, but yet they make like such a fucking convoluted, confusing Venom movie. With like they wouldn't cross over the characters because that would confuse people.
yeah, it just is bizarre. This whole universe is just bizarre. I
Yeah.
just want it to die. Like I hope Craven makes $10 at the box
And it's
office.
not gonna make any money. And the amount of reshoots they had, it
Do they
cost.
yeah, they don't have plans. Like there's nothing set in
No, there's
stone after
nothing. There's
this.
nothing now. Nothing confirmed besides Spider-Man 4, because technically that's like a Sony production. But after that, that's it. They don't have anything else planned.
I saw rumors online that was like there's gonna be a Sinister Six movie with Morbius, Craven, Venom. Do you know what post I'm talking about or no?
No, and I kind
It
of
was
don't
like
even want to
it was
know.
Morbius, Craven, Venom, uh
Maybe like Madam Web.
uh yeah, Madam Web, I think Vulture and one other. I forget who it was.
Maybe one of the other Spider Woman from.
I don't remember. But it was like, oh, all of them are gonna face off against Null. Like Spider-Man's not even gonna be in it.
Is that true? Like that's an actual.
That was just like one of those like rumored
Oh, bro,
kind of
like
things.
that's like a hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby analogy.
Yeah.
What would like that's just so.
Dude, but how can you make a Sinister Six movie if like
But
they're
it's
not even
funny because like
sinister? They're
it's not
fighting
even
a
a
villain.
Sinister Six. They're fighting no. It's literally just like a Suicide Squad, basically. They're
No,
gonna be
but
like a government
they're all like
run.
anti-heroes. None of them are
Yeah,
evil.
yeah.
I don't
I
know.
don't. I don't
Very
know, dude.
strange. Very
Yeah.
strange.
Did you have a favorite character? I mean, it's
Uh yeah, I mean I like Eddie. I
yeah,
like Eddie.
yeah. I mean,
Mrs.
it's
Chen. Mrs. Chen was cool.
yeah. I love the Mrs. Chen like dance number. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that was like a little bit too much for me. I like the shot in the trailer of them dancing together, but the fact that it just went to a full-on dance number, I was like, "What
No,
the
I thought
fuck?"
I like that they did that. I thought it was
And
funny.
dude, it's like they're
But
like,
like, if
"Yo,
you're
like."
taking the movie seriously at that point, still, like, I mean,
Yeah, it's just, bro, how can I for a second believe that any of the characters care about what's going on if 1 second Venom's like, "We can't
yeah, we
we
can't
can't
do the
merge because the
the
whole entire
codex.
fate of the universe relies on us."
And
And
they
he's like,
fucking
"Nah, let me get a dance though. Let me get a dance." And they combine and instantly that giant creature just pulls up and like, how are you
no,
supposed to take
that is
anything
mad fun because they
yeah.
cut from like them dancing to the creature like flying in the sky like directly to the location.
Yeah, and he knows that that's gonna happen. Like the whole reason why they couldn't get to Vegas in the first place was because they couldn't combine.
Yeah,
So, like, he knows that that's gonna happen, and they just do it anyway just to, like, make a joke. I I don't know. How
yeah,
are you supposed to take anything seriously in the movie? It makes no sense,
yeah. I mean,
but whatever. That's
okay,
it. I have nothing else to say
yeah. There's
about
not
this.
really much to say about it. I was gonna say you want to get to ratings.
Yeah, I'll go first, I guess. So Venom: The Last Dance, I gave a 1.5 star, a 3 out of 10. Just an abysmal film. Couldn't take anything seriously the entire time. Way too many plot points going on. And I can't do any of these movies anymore. Like the
Yeah, I think
Sonyverse just
yeah,
has to end.
Sony's yeah. So I gave it a 2 out of 5, so a 4 out of 10. Um, I mean, I don't think it's as I think it's pretty on par with the rest of the Venom movies. I don't think it's like much worse than the others, but it's definitely not very good. Especially just it's just way too like what's the term? Too much going on. It's just that's the biggest issue for me. I think it's just way too much going on in the movie. But even besides that, it's still not a good one. Anyway, yeah, that's
All
mine.
right. So I guess you want to pull up the
Yeah, I love
synopsis.
pull up the synopsis for Anora, which I don't. At the time of recording this, is it released everywhere in the U.S.?
No, it's very limited theaters still.
So yeah, for those of you who don't know, me and Matt are based out of New York City, so we are obviously really lucky and we're able to see it. I saw this like 2 weeks ago. You
Yeah,
saw it what?
I saw it last Thursday, so a week ago, or
Yeah,
a little less than a week ago.
it's kind of wild that like this isn't released in everywhere else yet.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
We're also seeing Juror number 2 tomorrow,
yeah, we're seeing that tomorrow,
which
which
that apparently is playing in like 50
50
theaters.
theaters. So we're really lucky to be able to see that.
Yeah.
All right. Anora, a young sex worker from Brooklyn, gets her chance at a Cinderella story when she meets and impulsively marries the son of an oligarch. Once news reaches Russia, her fairy tale is threatened as the parents set out to New York to get the marriage annulled. So, um,
A Null? Like Null from Venom?
annulled. No, that dude misheard me.
No.
Um, I feel I don't, this I feel like there's a lot to talk about this. Like it's
Yeah,
hard to start.
let's just pick a point and start. I want to start
So
with
let's talk
Sean
about I
Baker's.
was gonna say
I
the
want to start with.
performances we can talk.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Let's start with
So
that.
I thought all the performances were really good. This is Mickey Madison's career best. She is gonna get nominated for an Oscar, I think. And also, the supporting cast is very very good and very funny as well. I'm definitely gonna butcher it, but Mark Udslethien, Udel who plays Ivan, like the love interest in it, was I thought like very very funny. And Yora Borsiv plays Igor. He was great as well.
Bro, how did you even
What?
that how did you get that pronunciation out of that?
What?
The Mark The dude named Mark.
Eats Steflin? No.
Bro, where are you getting an F from? It's like Edelstein.
No.
Yeah,
Well,
it is.
dude, I gotta
I
it's
went to a
okay.
I went to a Russian high school, so that's probably why.
My dyslexia.
It's alright.
But,
I'll forgive you. Yeah, no, I was gonna say I was
yeah.
surprised by because I didn't really know anything besides, yeah, Mikey Madison's in it and Sean Baker's directing. Like this, all of the side characters are really good.
Yeah, yeah.
Even like the guy who plays Toros, like I really liked his character.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah,
said, they're all funny, had a good
yeah,
dynamic between them all.
yeah,
Um, I think in terms of, like you said, awards recognition, I think Mikey Madison is most likely going to be nominated, if not win. I know a lot
yeah,
of people are choosing her to win. And honestly, the competition is not that great this year.
yeah.
So I think she has a shot. I
Yeah,
still think Jodie Comer, she would probably still be my pick, but I don't even know if she's gonna get nominated, to be honest with you.
that's crazy. That should matter.
Yeah. Um,
But
but yeah,
yeah,
I was gonna say the next thing we should talk about is Sean Baker's direction.
yeah,
I think he's a really one of a kind of
yeah.
director of just making his films feel so real and so
And
personal,
human, yeah. They feel
human.
just so like I don't want to like. Obviously, it's not relatable, but like just I don't know, like the situational stuff, like them just interacting with people, like it just feels so natural and just so like how people just talk in real life.
Yeah.
He does it so like on a level unlike anybody else in film right now. I think it's like
Yeah,
I don't know if you agree with me.
no, I agree, and I just, I don't know if I told you or you probably just heard of it, but to watch the Florida Project, you watched that
Yeah,
recently?
yeah.
That
Oh
just
my
feels
god,
like
dude.
it feels like you just tossed yourself in a random Florida motel, and, like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
you know?
100%. Yeah,
This movie, I felt like every single scene that was happening, like, it didn't feel like a movie. It just felt like I was just
you were
there,
just there. Yeah,
which I think also had a lot to do with, like, how he framed his shots. I noticed a lot of the times, like, it was handheld and just kinda, like, at eye level, just, like, as if you were just in the room
yeah.
with the characters.
Characters. Yeah,
And I think that did a lot for kind of making it more realistic and just making it feel like you were actually there.
yeah.
A lot of it felt like you're just a fly on the wall and just witnessing all this stuff
Witnessing
go
the
down.
whole kind of yeah,
Yeah, like you said about the realism, in terms of like the characters' dialogues and whatnot. Like I think I mentioned this to you. There's one scene where, so basically the story is, you read the synopsis, but Anora marries this rich Russian kid whose parents are from Russia and are extremely wealthy. And basically, once his parents find out that he got married to a sex worker, they like bug out and come to the US. So when he finds out they're coming, he dips, like runs away. So then Anora, along with, I guess they're not his family, but her husband's the people who are watching over him, making sure he wasn't doing anything he wasn't supposed to. Them and her basically go on a manhunt to find him.
yeah,
Um, so there's one point where they go to Coney Island Boardwalk to look for him. Basically, they go to a candy shop and then they're like, the people in there are like, oh, I think he's working at this restaurant or whatever, something along those lines. But just the scenes of them walking from one spot to the other. Anora is kind of running to the car, and then Toros is like, "What? I'm not getting in the car. Like, you think I'm gonna drive down and find another parking spot? It's only 5 minute walk." And just like their banter back
yeah,
and forth, it just felt so human. It felt like a
yeah,
real conversation that you would have,
yeah.
even in this exaggerated moment of the overall story.
Story going, yeah,
There's just these real moments that just kinda ground it and make it feel like something that would actually be
would
happening.
happen.
Like,
Yeah,
this is completely believable to me, this
yeah.
story.
No, I agree. And this is not just exclusive to Anora. I think all of his movies, like at the Florida Project, like you mentioned, I just watched another one, Take Out, which is one of his first movies. Um, I don't know how he's just there's no one like him that writes like this or film.
Yeah. And a lot of his other stuff was kinda, I don't wanna say underground, but just not as recognized.
Recognized. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm glad that this film is getting Oscar buzz. I'm pretty sure it won the Palme d'Or,
I
right?
think it did. Yeah,
Which
was
is
pretty
always a good thing.
significant.
I
Yeah.
forgot which one won last year. Wasn't it?
Let me see.
I forget. I want to say Triangle of Sadness, but I know that's not true because that was the year before. I think it was Zone of Interest, maybe.
Yeah. What's it called? The Palm what?
It's like PALMDOR. If you that'll at least be close enough to the spelling that you'll be able to find it. It's something like that.
Oh yeah. That's E. Let me see.
Yeah, what won last year?
2023.
I
Anatomy
feel
of
like
a Fall.
oh yeah, Anatomy of a Fall.
Still haven't seen.
You got to. That's a good one.
Yeah. No,
So
I gotta catch up on the 20 Oscars. But uh, well,
yeah, where do we go from here? I guess we could talk
talk
about
about
the
the
story itself
story.
and
Yeah.
like what it kind
So
of meant.
my one complaint about the movie is I do feel it does take a little while to get going because you know a certain amount going into it, but to get to that point when you finally get there, I feel like you're more than halfway through the movie at that point.
Yeah, it really like for me the movie really started from the scene where I keep saying the husband now. I keep forgetting his name.
What?
I Ivan? Is it did he say Ivan or Ivan? I forget. I think Ivan.
Which one?
That's the husband. What does she call him?
Uh,
I forget. I feel like she
I
calls him
think
Ivan.
Yvonne. Yvonne,
Yeah.
yeah, Yvonne.
So the moment when Ivan runs away, that's kind of where the movie
Yeah,
really
that's when the movie really
starts.
starts. Yeah,
And from there, I loved every second. Like
yeah,
just that whole, just the scenario of what's going on, the interactions between Anora and those characters,
characters. Yeah,
just how fast paced it is, kind of like Uncut Gems almost esque in a way.
yeah, yeah.
But it is a little bit slow getting there. I'll say.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Um,
I agree with you.
One thing that I was a little bit confused about is I understand that they're trying to show how Anora is kind of like a broken person and because of the sex work that she does and how, she uses sex and we'll talk about this when we talk about the ending, but she uses that basically as her way of dealing with things. But especially at the beginning, it doesn't really show that in her character. Maybe I'm just misinterpreting this, but especially, like, the opening, it seems like she's having a great time, seems like she's making good money, she doesn't seem, like, uncomfortable at all.
Yeah,
They kinda made it like, "Oh, she's living this great life," and then to turn around at the end and kinda flip it of, like, these people are using her, her life actually isn't good. I just thought it was weird how they framed it like that in the beginning. I could just be misinterpreting it,
I mean,
you
I don't
know?
think you're supposed to take it that she's like. I mean, her job is to make people like kind of happy, so she's supposed to look like she's having a great time.
That's true. I feel like she genuinely was, though. I don't know.
Mm, I
I might
don't
have
know.
to rewatch the
Yeah,
beginning
honestly,
part.
this movie does need a rewatch. Like, I still feel like there's things that I want to like rewatch, like re-see and analyze.
Yeah, it wasn't until, like, the end that I was kinda like, "You know what? Yeah, like, she is getting taken advantage of and this and that," but that might be what it's supposed to be, That might be how he wanted it to be.
I
To
feel
fr
like I've from like when they show up at the house, like where they pull up, they like tie her up and like fucking hold her hostage for like hours, and then she
Yeah,
has to go on a.
that's not because she's a sex worker, that's
No,
because,
no, but they're
you
still
know
taking advantage of her.
That's true, yeah, but I just mean, like, taking advantage as
And
in
also
I don't
in
know.
like as like during this time like constantly being like belittled for being a sex worker from them and also the parents of Yvonne.
Yeah, I thought the inclusion of that was done well, of just showing
The
how
kind of
little respect
back
that
people,
those
yeah, they
people
have.
had for her.
Like there's a scene of when so eventually his parents come from Russia and uh she goes and like introduces herself to Yvonne's mother and like his mom doesn't even like acknowledge her. Like she doesn't say a word to her.
Yeah. I also really like the scene where it's kind of Yvonne is kind of just, like, plastered, and he's getting on the plane, and Honora's just, like, pleading with him. She's like, "I'm your wife," like, this and that, and he,
Yeah.
like, just doesn't even give a fuck.
Care.
This is like
Yeah.
a it's just like a weekend out for him.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Are you saying we're gonna get divorced?" And he's like, "Of course we are. Like, are you stupid?" And that just the way that that kind of just completely belittled her
Right.
character and just made
Yeah.
her look stupid. I thought that scene was really good, how both characters both actors performed like
Yeah.
that scene.
You
That's
could see in
on
them like it broke her like in that.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. So I do wanna talk about the ending a little. There's this character, Igor, that he's with the group of men that basically force Anora to help them find Yvonne. But
Yeah.
he treats her with full respect. He's very nice to her, at least he tries to be. He
Yeah.
doesn't
You could tell he takes like a liking to her.
Yeah. He doesn't, I
Take
don't know,
advantage of her,
yeah, he
like,
doesn't, like, take advantage of her. He doesn't belittle her for being a sex worker. He's just kinda there doing his job, and you could tell that he could kinda see something in her that maybe most other people don't. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, he basically at the end, he's tasked with bringing Nora back to her well, I guess not her house anymore, but bringing her back while Yvonne goes to Russia, and they kinda start talking. She keeps violating him. She's calling him, like, all these names that I won't say on here,
yeah,
and he still is just like, he's not even fighting back, just whatever, still being nice the whole time. And then all the way up until the end, he tries to get her to open up, and she, like, won't. He's asking her questions while they're watching TV. She won't open up at all. She just,
yeah,
like, goes against him with she uses, I guess, anger and disgust to instead of actually just opening up to him.
yeah,
It's just like a coping or defense mechanism, I guess.
yeah.
But anyways,
And yeah, I was gonna say, you want to talk about that last scene
yeah,
specifically?
it gets to a point all the way at the end where she is finally getting dropped off at her house, and then he reveals that he stole the wedding ring, which was stolen from her. He stole it back and gives it to her. And then you want to talk about this last part because I've just been like
Yeah,
speaking
no.
for a long time.
So basically, he gives her back the ring, and she turns to him and looks at him and like kind of like sits on his lap and like starts kind of giving him a lap dance. And then what happened? Like this part is kind of confusing. He goes to Does he go to kiss her?
Well, bro, they start having sex. She doesn't give him a lap dance. Like,
I thought you were just giving him a lap dance.
no, bro. They're
Oh,
they were having sex, yeah.
I,
Like,
oh
and then
well,
yeah. So basically once she receives that ring, the only way because it's like a very nice gesture. It's like a
yeah,
really
yeah,
nice thing to do. The only way that she could think to repay him is with sex. So she instantly goes on his lap and whatever, start having sex, and he tries to pull her face in, I guess, to kiss her. And when he tries to do that, she starts like really resisting and like hits him on his chest. And then all of a sudden just breaks down, starts hysterical crying, and he just holds her. And
yeah,
then the movie ends. So at first I was kind of confused. I know there's a lot of different ways you can interpret it. I was doing some research and like what other people thought the ending meant.
yeah.
Um, what do you think, Joe?
I agree. Like that. I think that this is kind of her response to any sort of someone being nice to her is like that's her way of kind of rewarding it. And I don't know. I still kind of don't. I'm still kind of confused on it a little bit.
I know some people are saying that Igor actually truly loved her instead of like Yvonne, who just was, doing it for fun. But to me, it's like, how can he love her? Like, he just met her the day
No, I don't think he
before. I
loves
don't think it
her.
was like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think no, I think that like he liked her. I think he liked her, but to
I,
love, I think it's a little crazy.
I don't
Like
think
he
he
had to have
even,
taken a liking to her. He gave her back that fucking. Well, he could have just kept the ring and sold it.
I think he was just like a genuinely good
Good
person.
person, yeah. Like
And
even he,
he saw through her and he saw like the innocence.
since yeah, and that she's kind of she's being taken
But
advantage of.
I don't think that he wanted to have sex with her,
No,
because
no,
she
no. I think
initiated the whole
yeah,
thing.
yeah. No, I agree. Um, I also like he also tells Yvonne's mom like, oh, like I think Yvonne should apologize. And
Yeah,
even
he's
like,
like one of the only actually genuinely good characters in
yeah,
the whole movie.
yeah.
Um, but
Do you
yeah,
think he could get any award buzz?
probably not.
No.
I don't think so. But yeah, I'm trying to think of like what I really think that ending is supposed to say. Um, I
Honestly,
feel like
I feel like usually Sean Baker has like the kind of ends on a positive note. This is the first time you like. There's other two movies I watched usually end on like a little kind of something nice. This was a little, you know,
yeah,
more
I don't
bleak, I
know. But
guess.
yeah, I feel like she kind of because of her job and her role in society, she sees sex as transactional.
Yeah,
It's just you do something for me, I do something for
something for
you.
you.
It's
Yeah,
not that's why I think maybe when Igor tries to kiss her, it becomes like personal and emotional. And
yeah,
that's why she kind of freaks out because she's
yeah,
not used to that, you know?
yeah.
Even the sex scenes with Yvonne,
Yvonne.
it's never like passionate. It's just
No,
him
it's
just,
just him having sex. Yeah,
yeah. Which I think that might have been done on purpose to show the contrast in a scene like this
yeah,
because she's not used to someone, caressing her face probably or trying to pull her in for a kiss,
yeah,
you know? So that kind of makes her freak out a little bit.
yeah,
And it just, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's also the film as a whole is trying to not only talk about sex work, but also talk about the differences in class and how it affects how people are treated.
yeah.
Even from Yvonne's family, like the people that work for Yvonne, or the people that work for Yvonne, the parents they're still like scared of the parents. They're basically just, do what they're
Terrified of
told
him.
and
Yeah,
whatever. And they're treated like shit from them. And then even lower is like Anora is treated like shit from those people.
yeah.
So it's like how each class kind of treats the next. And then you have someone like Igor who can kind of see through all that, and I feel like
He's kind of
he's I
the
don't want to
main
say this I don't want to say like the audience stand in, but kind of just like the
reality check.
person that's most relatable, I guess, in terms of I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, I
I guess
understand.
if
I
you're
get what you're saying. He's like more like I don't know. I feel like he's the most normal person in that situation, like the most relatable to us.
yeah.
But
I really like that ending though. How it just her completely breaking down. It's the first time the whole movie that you see her be vulnerable, the
yeah,
character.
the first time
And
she
it
cries too.
yeah, and it goes from that because usually she just anything that happens, she gets angry.
Yeah,
Her trying to hit people, throwing objects at people, and then at the end, it's her finally opening up and being vulnerable in front of someone. And I think also that it kind of relates directly to Mikey Madison's performance. I feel like as an actress, she was very vulnerable for this.
yeah,
There's a lot of, she had to be in the nude for a lot of it. It's a very vulnerable performance, and I think that final scene with uh with Igor, it shows a lot of vulnerability in the character as well. So I kind of like that parallel there.
hmm
But just her crying and then it cuts to the credits and you still hear her crying for a little when the
yeah,
credits start rolling. Just really liked it. It made me like feel weird after. I don't know. I walked out of the theater, just felt
yeah. It was a
like
little
a little bit.
strange.
Yeah. But
Mm.
it was definitely a movie that kept me thinking for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
And I wanted to
I
talk about
still
it.
kind of like. I want to rewatch it. I
Yeah,
still
so
think
do I.
like, yeah,
Maybe when it comes to
streaming.
digital.
It's kind of crazy we're talking about this, and like most of the people haven't seen the movie.
Yeah.
But
Maybe we could do favorite scenes. We didn't do that yet for this.
I mean, I like the break-in scene when they first come and like that whole kind of 15-minute sequence.
Yeah. Someone's shooting fireworks right
Why?
now.
Why? What the fucking
Isn't
November? Why is there fireworks?
Sorry if you guys can hear that.
Yeah,
Um, all right, sorry about that. There was just some fireworks going off, but yeah, I was gonna say it's hard for me to pick a favorite scene. I really do like that ending. The more that I think about it, I like how abrupt it is, and just that cut to the credits. I do like, but honestly, I really like the whole marriage montage, like when
Oh,
they
them
get
in
married in
Vegas?
Vegas and
Yeah,
them just running around together and stuff. I thought that was a good scene.
yeah. Their
But
montage in New York City was cool too,
yeah, that was cool.
other than, like, buying all the jackets and stuff.
hmm but yeah, favorite character. I feel like it's pretty
Yeah,
obviously
and
Anora.
Nora, yeah.
Not only the performance, but
But
just the most interesting character I think in the movie.
yeah.
And you're really
Feel
rooting for her the whole time.
and you feel for her too.
hmm
It is really sad, honestly, like, because like, I don't know, I felt for a good chunk of the movie, I thought she was gonna get her happy ending.
Yeah, it's just the fact that he thinks like Yvonne thinks so little of
Little
her,
yeah,
like he
that's, like, the
doesn't
big
even care.
yeah,
And
that's what makes
to
it sad.
yeah, and to her, she's that's her husband. Like,
Yeah,
but it doesn't mean the same thing to him. So,
that's
all
crazy.
right, I think we could get to ratings.
Yeah. So I gave it a 4 out of 5, so an 8 out of 10. Um, it starts off a little slow for me, that's the only reason why it's not higher, but from like you said, Matt, when Yvonne runs away and the movie really picks up, it's really, really good. And fantastic performances all around.
Yeah, I liked it a little more than you. I
Yeah,
gave Anora 4.5 star, 9 out of 10. I think Mikey Madison's performance really propels this movie even further than it normally would have. I really enjoy Sean Baker's direction. Just movies that make you feel like you're there and the realism in them, I really enjoy and I really respect what he's able to do. A lot of it has to do with the camera work, but also the writing and other things like that. Um, but yeah, this is going to be an awards contender. I think. I hope that Mikey Madison at least gets nominated because she deserves it. Definitely want to check this out again.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
all right. Uh, I guess we can move on to movie
Movie
news.
news.
Right? Is that right? Hold on,
Yeah.
my mouse isn't working.
Really?
Let's. Jeez, bro, you need a coffee or something?
No,
Am I
I'm
boring
trying
you?
like no, just
No, there's not much honestly in
yeah.
movie news.
But
Let's
if
see.
I was gonna say before we get into movie news, I don't know if you want to briefly discuss Conclave.
Okay, but we'll keep it kind of brief just because
Yeah,
I
no,
think
not
we
we're not gonna
spoke
go
a
into a
lot. But
full. But Conclave basically follows the story of a pope dying and the man in charge of like basically running how the next pope gets elected. It's a basically a political thriller taking place in the Vatican City, and I really really liked it. I thought it was very good, and the performances are great.
yeah, I was a big fan of it as well.
Yeah.
I really like Edward Berger, the guy who directed it.
Oh
He also
yeah.
made the fuck
All
was the
Quiet
one?
on the Western
All
Front.
Quiet on the Western Front, which I really loved. I think there's just I don't know if you notice this, but there's like little moments in the movie that just make it really realistic. Like there's one scene where they're just in the Vatican talking and you just like hear a plane flying overhead. Like when you're in your house and sometimes you just
Yeah.
hear that like
It's just
plane
yeah, the
flying.
way it was shot,
Like
even like small
sometimes
scenes of just like the
s-
you're right, the
like
Cardinals
that
talking to each other.
yeah, there's the Cardinals talking and someone will just cough randomly.
Yeah.
Like that's just shit that happens in real life, you
Yeah.
know? Like that just little things like that, the attention to detail
Yeah.
was amazing.
Yeah. Even
Just,
like the the what's his name? That I always forget the guy's name, but he's like the racist cardinal that vapes and stuff like that. And they're
yeah,
like I like how they're all kind of like divas. They're all kind of like because they're a lot of them it's like a power thing. They all want the I guess what's the term? Papacy, I guess.
I forget. Not
Whatever.
Popacy,
Some the
something
title of the pope, I guess. So like
yeah.
there's like there's like plots to get people, you know, not in the running and stuff like that. Really,
Yeah,
and Ralph Fiennes is really really good as well.
yeah, he was great. I was having a hard time kind of reading his character because at first he seems like, he doesn't care about wanting to be the Pope and
Yeah,
everything. And there's a scene where Stanley Tucci's character is kind of like, be honest, like every Pope or every bishop knows what their Pope name would be. And he's like,
yeah,
no, I wouldn't. And then eventually towards the end, he reveals, I would want it to be John.
yeah,
So it kind of shows that the whole time he really did think about being the Pope one day and he did want to be the Pope.
yeah. I also like how they talk about like being not unfaithful. like doubting their faith. That's like a big topic in the movie, I feel like. And I
Yeah,
like how they don't shy away from that.
yeah, and there's one character, I forget who says it, but he says something about doubt, and then another character questions him like, "Oh, you doubt your faith?" And he's like, "No, I doubt the church." So I
Oh
thought that
yeah,
was a really cool moment
yeah.
of kinda
There's a lot
yeah,
of good like line. It's very well written as well.
yeah, and that also because we were, raised Catholic,
Catholic, yeah,
so there is that doubt that comes in, especially with how much hypocrisy and how
yeah.
many scandals there are within the
With the
Catholic
church,
Church,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And it's hard to separate your faith from this institution.
yeah,
So I feel like it was very interesting how they kinda tackled that subject.
yeah. Absolutely.
So, I for a movie that's just basically about a bunch of
Good
popes
pub.
talking or not popes,
Yeah,
a bunch of bishops
Cardinals.
talking,
Yeah,
cardinals, it was very interesting.
yeah, and was shot really well for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah, All Quiet on the Western Front you should watch. It's one of my
Yeah,
favorites from that year. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's a huge reveal at the end, so spoiler alert, but
yeah,
if you wanna watch this movie, skip past this part.
yeah.
But Joe, if you wanna talk about how it
So,
ends.
a big part in the movie is that there is a cardinal that shows up randomly from Afghanistan that was like ordained in secrecy like a couple years ago. So it's like a big kind of people don't understand why he's there. And eventually, spoiler alert, he gets ends up becoming the pope, and it's revealed at the end that when he was younger, he had to get a surgery, and when he had the surgery, they revealed that he had ovaries on the inside. So he's what's called a hermaphrodite. So it's when someone has XXY chromosomes, and on the outside, they look like a male, but on the inside, it's a female. And he says like that's the way God made him, and that's how he was going to be, and like that he left everything in there, and that's how the movie ends. And I thought it was really interesting, and like I thought that was cool. I thought it was really ballsy, and it did it in like a non disrespectful way, in my opinion.
Yeah, at first I was a little bit confused on it because
Yeah,
they
you
say
said you
that
weren't, you wasn't like you weren't sure, you didn't understand like what it actually.
yeah, because they basically say that what happened was when he was younger, his appendix burst, and they went to remove it and found the ovaries. So I was like, "Okay, is this they have ovaries, are they transgender?" But then if that's the case, how would they not know that they were a girl if they had, like, female parts? Then you explain to me that this is, like, a real thing that happens
Yeah,
where
it's rare, but it does happen.
so you have male parts on the outside,
Yeah, and
and then
inside is female parts.
yeah, that's interesting
Like you
because it's
obviously, it's not like you can't reproduce. Like it's not you can't. It's not like actually
yeah.
functioning, but it is a thing. It's
Yeah, and, like you mentioned about him not wanting to change, there's basically the Pope knew about it. When he was ordained, he knew
yeah,
that this person was actually a female, but they were raised male. So it's
yeah,
originally set up so that they would go to this clinic to basically remove
ovaries.
their male or no, they were oh yeah, they were gonna
Remove
remove
the
the
ovaries,
ovaries.
and
And then
yeah,
basically at the last second he backs out and is like, "God made me this way, so I'm not gonna remove that." And I thought that was very interesting
yeah.
because it what would the if that actually was the case, like, what would the Catholic Church want? They would probably want them to remove the ovaries, right?
I don't I
But
don't
that, like,
think so.
completely goes
That's
against,
what they believe. What's
being made in God's image and
yeah.
everything.
I
It's
feel like
like
they wouldn't because that's like and it's not like they elected to be like that. That's just the way they were born. You know.
yeah, but that says a lot about, Catholicism and their view on people in the
Yeah,
LGBT community.
I know.
It's
Well,
very interesting.
yeah. And it's
And
also,
also
I feel like this movie's really good, so it's like hard to just talk about small, like a little about it. But I was gonna say, I think it's interesting that like within the church they show there's kind of divides about like certain people in the church like don't want women in like powerful roles in the church, and like some people are like against uh like tolerating other religions. It was like they showed the kind of extremes of the church in it, which was interesting.
yeah, there was more liberal sects
Sex, yeah,
of
sex.
s of, uh, what was it, bishops? I keep saying messing it
Cardinals.
cardinals, and there was more, like, conservative cardinals that there's a point in the movie where there's a terrorist like attack,
Yeah.
and some of the more conservative cardinals are like, these Muslim people, whatever, they're basically being racist, and
Yeah,
then there's the
because
other group where it's like we have to respect all religions and this and that. And that's where this cardinal who eventually does become the pope kind of steps in and wins everyone over.
yeah,
So, yeah, it was interesting to see like that even within the church there are multiple different groups that have
yeah,
different beliefs. But I feel like the ending though is Ralph Fiennes' character basically deciding whether or not to tell people that he knew the truth about this
yeah.
cardinal, and he doesn't. He doesn't
No,
because I guess
I
because
think he just wants it to be not controversial. Excuse me, and you know, doesn't want to cause like a problem.
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
a really thought provoking movie.
yeah.
I honestly like it more now that we're talking about it a little bit.
No, I thought it
What
was really good. I think it's one of the best of the year. It's in my top
what
five.
what did you rate it?
4.5.
All right, yeah, I gave it a 4 stars.
Yeah,
The only thing is I think it was a little bit slow. It's kind of a
yeah.
drag at certain
That's fair.
points.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
But
fucking. It's just
once you like get to know the characters and sort of like feel out the dynamics between them, it gets a lot more interesting.
yeah. Yeah,
So
for a movie about it's literally just the whole movie is priests talking to each other. That's it. Like nothing really. It is very good.
yeah, but all
But
right, you
yeah,
wanna
we'll get into the movie news now.
so I'll say this
Yeah,
first one, and then so I'm not gonna be able to pronounce this name. I'm just gonna take a guess at this, but Jimon Hanso and Lauren LaVera are gonna star in Darren Lynn Bousman's The Monster, which follows two people who make quick money by leasing apartments they don't own to people who don't know that they're being scammed. The con works until they run into an apartment owner with a dark secret. So that actor that I just spoke about, he's the one who's in Gladiator. I I don't know how to. He's like a bald, skinny black guy.
I don't think
He's
he's
a
in
great
Gladiator.
actor.
Oh no, he's in the original Gladiator, right?
Yeah, yeah, he's a great
He's in a
actor. I
bunch of
just
things.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
in a Quiet Place. He's
yeah.
really good.
Step closer to your mic, Joe. If
I
you're
know. Sorry.
or
Okay.
no, 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 no problem. So
Um.
yeah, if for those of you that don't know, Lauren LaVera is Sienna in Terrifier films. So I'm hyped about this. And Darren Lynn Bousman directed some of the Saw movies. So it's a
Yeah.
new horror. It's Lauren LaVera. This is her first like Hollywood kind of project. Like
Yeah.
these are some serious names attached here.
Yeah. So it's exciting to see her kind of. Well, I feel like she's gonna start popping up in a lot more stuff now.
Yeah, because she was great in Terrifier. She has a lot of support online, a lot of fans on
Yeah.
Twitter, more than you'd expect.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the plot honestly sounds kind of good.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting.
So
So,
should be fun.
yeah.
Um. I guess I could talk about the next one. So we got revealed that two Predator movies are coming out next year. One is going to be called Predator Badlands, starring Ellie Fanning. I haven't seen her in anything, but I know that she's like a pretty notable actress, like younger actress.
I could be
And there's
wrong,
a
but doesn't she voice Coraline?
I don't think so.
Let me look that up
Let
really
me
quick.
think. I'm gonna say no.
Oh no, that's Dakota Fanning. My bad.
All right,
My bad.
you're good.
Sorry.
And
Continue.
a secret movie that has not been announced. The rumor is for the secret movie that it's gonna be an anthology of like Predator being dropped in different settings, and the two it said it was gonna be three different settings, and the two rumored ones were like a feudal Japan and like something with pirates, which sounds fucking sick. I
Yeah,
love that
it's
idea.
supposed to be animated, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I heard it's gonna
Oh,
be
really?
animated.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
and that honestly makes more sense with like the
Yeah,
context.
it does, and it's probably cheaper, and like you could do way more with that. Think about all the kills they could do and stuff.
Yeah, that intrigued me a lot, and that kind of makes sense as to how he was able to do two in 1 year without anyone
Yeah,
knowing if it's
yeah,
animated, you know.
yeah. That would
So
make sense. But
so yeah,
yeah,
I'm excited for that. I really
yeah,
liked Prey. When they said a secret movie, I was really hoping it was Prey 2, but
yeah.
yeah, it doesn't seem like it's gonna be that.
I
So
mean, they could always revisit that kind of like I don't know. I guess
yeah,
Prey area-ish. I don't know, but it's still exciting to see. I know
Yeah,
Badlands is supposed to be set in the future, but that's like all I really know.
yeah. So it seems like Fox must have had some sort of meeting or something where they announced a bunch of these things because
Yeah,
we also found out that Alien Romulus is officially getting a sequel. Kaylee Spaney and David Johnson are both expected to return. That's really exciting.
yeah,
We were both big fans of that movie,
yeah.
and I'm interested to see kind of where they go
That
with
goes
that
next.
story.
Yeah,
There's kind of an
and
obvious next point where they're going to Yavaga, and androids aren't supposed to be allowed. It's supposed to be like this paradise. To me, it seems like they're going to get there, and it's not as great as it seems.
they could get
Obviously,
there.
xenomorphs are going to have to be incorporated in some way.
Yeah,
So how that happens, I'm not sure. Do you think they'll revisit that child, the creature, the offspring, whatever
I
it's
hope
called?
so. Or
I don't know.
I like it would be cool to see them do something different too, like a
Yeah,
new kind of, you know.
yeah.
But
Yeah, along with that, they also revealed that there's a new Planet of the Apes film in the works, which I'm assuming is a sequel to Kingdom, right?
yeah,
So yeah, I liked Kingdom. Thought it
yeah,
was good.
it was good.
Oh, uh,
I was gonna ask you this. I forgot if we mentioned this in the podcast before, but how do you think eventually they're gonna make like a human and ape like relationship in one of these movies?
I don't know because obviously that's a touchy subject because obviously
I've
bestiality is both wrong and
and
illegal,
yeah,
but these are way more advanced than like an animal, you know?
yeah. It's just supposed to be a highly. They're supposed to be more advanced than humans at this point. Like when you're watching the
There
movie.
honestly is like some form of sexual tension between
Her
the
yeah,
two
because like
leads.
I feel like I was just I don't know why I was reading I saw something on Twitter about this because I was somebody watched like uh the movie like you know they have the one without the CGI in it so it's just the people in the suits
Which I'm sorry, you cut out. What'd you say?
for Planet of the Apes when they released it on DVD there's like a version with the people just in the suits
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
so they said that the like kind of tension between those two characters is a lot different obviously when the person's in a you know what I mean
Yeah,
so
because
that
she's
kind of
looking
made
at
people
another human.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it made
So
people kind of think. And I feel like that's like I mean that's like the next progression in the kind of evolution of the like I don't know. It's 300 years since the original one.
yeah, I guess where do you go, you know?
Yeah.
But all right.
Yeah.
You wanna
Interesting.
talk about
Yeah,
this
we'll talk about
next
the next
thing?
one. Um we also got our first look at the Nicolas Cage in the Spider-Man Noir series and it looks great. The suit looks really cool. Looks like a nice like 1920s kind of New York vibe to it. There's a rumor that in this scene he's fighting the Sandman because he's standing on top of a car and kind of like just swinging his arms all over the place. I don't know how true that is, but so far the costume looks great. It looks really exciting.
Yeah, costume, I have no notes. It's perfect. It's just ripped straight from the comics. Uh, I was thinking they were gonna fumble in some way, but really have no
It
complaints
looks
here.
great. Yeah,
And apparently, isn't Brendan Gleeson supposed to be playing the villain? So is he playing Sandman? That would be interesting.
I heard he's playing like a Green Goblin kind of character.
I could see him as kind of like an old timey Sandman. I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah, or like an
but
old timey gangster Sandman.
yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah,
I'm excited. I'll
maybe
watch it.
he's playing Kingpin.
Could be. Was Kingpin a character in the Spider-Man Noir comics or no?
No, but he's like a Spider-Man character, so they could just.
Yeah, they could. But
I forgot he was in that. Actually, that kind of gets me excited.
yeah, he's playing the villain, so
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah.
All right, next thing is we got our first look at the next film in the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey universe for Pinocchio Unstrung. Apparently, Robert Englund and Richard Brake are both going to be in the films. Robert Englund,
You
if you don't know, is Freddy Krueger, and Richard Brake, he's been in a bunch of horror movies, probably most famous for like working with Rob Zombie. I don't know if you know him, Joe,
No, I obviously
but
knew Robert Englund.
yeah.
Um,
You were going to say something. Sorry.
yeah, I saw something that they're playing. They revealed who they're playing. It's like Geppetto and someone else.
Robert
I
Englund
forgot.
is Robert Englund Geppetto?
I forgot. I gotta look it up.
That would be pretty cool. But
Well,
they also revealed like an animatronic that they're using, and it looks really good. You could
yeah.
tell that they're actually putting an effort.
And honestly, the last one that we watched, like the Blood and Honey too, it wasn't like that bad.
Yeah, I kind of liked it. Like it was not bad at all, especially
Yeah.
compared to the first.
Oh yeah, and the what you call it was the practical effects and like the suits and stuff look great.
Yeah, so I'm excited. This is just stupid, goofy. I,
Yeah,
I
like I
like
don't.
that kind of stuff in
Yeah.
horror. But
Oh.
all right, you want to talk about? I know we just watched a trailer before this, Joe.
Oh yeah. So hold on, I was trying to find out like the who they're playing.
Oh yeah, go ahead,
Sorry.
do that quick. I could introduce
Um.
it. But yeah, so we watched a trailer for Star Wars Skeleton Crew, which I honestly had no hype for, but it's a new Disney Plus Star Wars series that was labeled as Star Wars meets Goonies. And that's honestly the trailer, that's exactly the vibe that I got. It looked really good.
Yeah. I can't. It's not. I can't find it. Sorry. But
That's all right.
yeah, it looks a lot of fun. It's definitely geared more towards kids, not in a bad way, but like just looks more like kind of space adventure style. Like I feel like I really would have liked this when I was younger.
Yeah, it's definitely got sort of season 1 of Stranger Things kind of vibe,
Yeah.
or It Chapter 1, where it's just like a group of kids in this more expansive world
Yeah.
trying to. And it's interesting because we never really seen kids in Star Wars besides young Anakin.
Anakin. Yeah. You're right.
Like,
Honestly,
they're honestly that is an untapped kinda
kind of market.
world
I mean,
to.
not that kids don't love Star Wars, but you
Yeah,
know
so
that
it
is
looks
really
good,
interesting. Yeah. I never like now that you point that out. There's not a lot of like kid centric Star Wars.
or even
Like
kid characters,
yeah.
really. The
I
only
mean,
people I could think of is, like, the
the
young Jango
Leia.
Fett,
I was gonna
but
think young Leia in the Obi-Wan series
oh,
is like
yeah,
the last.
that's true, but I'm thinking,
Like
like,
not the main character of a show or anything like that.
yeah, I'm thinking, like, the movies, there was the young Boba Fett
Yeah.
in the prequels, there was Anakin, there wasn't really
There's
any kids
there's like
in all.
that kid for like 2 scenes in The Last Jedi.
Oh, the one with the broom?
The broom, yeah. That was
Yeah,
it.
so it's interesting to see, like, what kids do in this world, what are kids
Yeah.
like in this world, so
And it looks like the people that are like it doesn't look like there's any Jedi or Sith involved. It looks just like regular kinda like the scenes of the parents in the trailer, like they just look like normal ass like citizens.
yeah,
It's kinda interesting.
yeah, so
But yeah.
alright, I guess we can move on now to our top 10.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for this.
Yeah.
This is gonna be our top 10 favorite horror icons. So I was very general on, what counts as a horror icon or not. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory, but I could give my 10 through 5 really quick.
Yeah.
Some of these are gonna be controversial. I'll just start off by saying that. So don't hate on me, please.
Yeah.
But here we go. At number 10, I have John Kramer from the Saw franchise. Maybe not a traditional horror icon because he doesn't physically go out and chop up anyone, but I love the performance. I love the Saw films and just his idea. Like,
Would that count as like Jigsaw technically?
well, he is Jigsaw.
No, I know
You,
that's what I'm saying.
yeah, yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean? Would it count?
Because like isn't like the actual like
The
the
puppet is called Billy.
oh okay so yeah all right never
Billy
mind.
the puppet.
Yeah.
Jigsaw is John Kramer himself.
Oh, I thought
But
the puppet was called Jigsaw.
no, it's a common misconception.
Oh.
Yeah, the puppet is called Billy. Jigsaw is John Kramer. But anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, that number 10, John Kramer. Number 9, this is where it gets controversial. I actually have Jason Voorhees. I know this is probably pretty high for most people because he's probably on a lot of people's Mount Rushmore. I know he's at least close to your top, Joe. You loved him a lot as a kid.
I don't know.
But he just never really did anything for me, honestly. He's boring. If we're talking about silent killers, I much prefer Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Um, just I don't know. He's not even in his own. He doesn't even like fully get his identity until his third movie in his franchise, and all of his movies suck. All the Friday the 13th movies suck. There's like
Yeah.
one good one. So, yeah, I'm putting Jason at number 9. I know I just said all movies suck as a bad thing, but number 8, I actually have the Leprechaun. That that's definitely gonna be controversial again,
The
But
Leprechaun over Jason is kind of wild. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, Leprechaun over Jason is definitely wild, but
Yeah,
I kinda have a fond memory of these movies. When I was in, like, end of high school, maybe first couple years of college during COVID, I watched all of these movies with my friends, and we would drink watching them and make drinking games. "Oh, every time the leprechaun says this, you have to drink. Every time this happens, you have to drink." It was just the
yeah,
movies are so bad, but the more
yeah,
drunk you get, the better they are, and I just love Warwick Davis in that role.
yeah,
And yeah, the leprechaun's great. Love him.
yeah,
Alright. Moving on. Number 7, very new horror icon here. I have Art the Clown. A part of me did wanna put him a lot higher than this, but he's just too new
yeah,
that I have to respect the people ahead of him. But I really love Art, and I think when it's all said and done, he might be higher. I love how gruesome he is. I love how humorous he is in terms of his kills, and he's both silent while also having a personality, so I
yeah,
really like that about his character. Number 6, I have Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He's a character that's misunderstood. I like his weapon, of course, the chainsaw, and just in terms of like a brute, a force of nature, I think he is the killer that kinda has that on most of the other guys, you know? The only other person I'd say is, like, Jason, but he isn't as much of a brute as Leatherface. And, yeah, I love his look. I love the the whole idea of putting someone else's face on his own, especially, like, the makeup face in the first movie.
yeah.
That's a really cool mask. But, yeah, number 6, I got Leatherface, so
Yes. Um, yeah, I thought you said 10 to 4, 10 to 6. You said
yeah, no, 10 to
okay.
6
All right.
'cause that was my first 5.
So for 10, I had Jason at 10. I don't think that's like a very hot take. I have very fond memories of Jason. He's very like one dimensional. And I feel like a lot of my memories of Jason are more like because I played hockey and he wore a hockey mask, I kind of gravitated towards that naturally. Um, but other than that, he really isn't very, I don't know,
Not the
iconic, I
best.
guess. Yeah.
Not the best.
9, I had Art the Clown, like you said, new, kind of like the newcomer on the list. Very, very new, so I can't really put him higher, but it looks like he's gonna be up there eventually. Very like gore and like unique kind of kills, and I like the comedy that he does. Uh, Number 8, I had Frankenstein. Um, and mostly just because this was the first really horror icon. The term horror icon originates from the Universal monsters, so and probably this was my first introduction to. I feel like most people's introduction to horror is usually like Frankenstein, werewolf, vampire, like that type of stuff. So, um, number 7, I had Ghostface. I know this is kind of, I don't like. It's obviously a different person in all the different movies, but I just think like the mask and the fit with the knife and everything is just so iconic. I feel like that's honestly the most recognizable horror icon around. And what was that? That's 6, right?
Was it?
Oh no, that was 7. I'm sorry. 6, I actually had Chucky. Chucky is one that I definitely, as I got older, I grew to appreciate a little bit more. I thought it was terrifying as a kid and stupid as a teen, and now that I'm older, I think it's like I find it really great. I love that it's just so stupid that I don't know, like kind of like a Leprechaun type of thing, where it's just so stupid that you like it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Alright. That's, we have some varying thoughts there, but
yeah,
I'm guessing Leprechaun didn't
no,
make your list, yeah.
no, sorry.
But
I have
alright.
my
No, way. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
no, no, no.
Alright, number 5 for me, I had Ghostface from Scream. You just talked about it.
Yeah,
That mask is so iconic.
yeah.
I I didn't really think about it, but yeah, you might be right. It might be the most recognizable mask among all of these
Yeah,
killers.
I feel like even more than Halloween, just because it's so much more like recent Scream.
Yeah, and it's distinct. It has, Michael Myers, his mask is just
Yeah,
like a white face. This has
yeah,
its own shape, and
yeah.
it's based on that famous painting, whatever
The
it's called.
Screaming Lady, whatever.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah. I would have it higher because I really like Scream as a franchise, and I love the look of Ghostface, but the thing that holds it back for me is it's a different character each time. Like,
Yeah,
there's no character traits that Ghostface has
has that
because
make
it's
it
not,
distinct. Yeah, you're right.
So
Mhm.
that's 5.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, my phone shut off. Um, Number 5, I actually had Leatherface. So you mentioned it before. Obviously the chainsaw is really iconic, and especially the first movie where he wears like the makeup kind of on the face of the mask. I think is really really cool, and something about just it being somebody else's skin, it just adds to it.
Yeah, I didn't mention before, but I also like his apron in the first one, like that look that he
Yeah,
has.
the butcher kind of look.
Yeah.
Isn't he wearing heels in it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if the characters, but I know the actor wore heels when filming.
Yeah. I think it's
So,
because I know like butchers used to wear heels, like so they wouldn't get like blood on their feet and stuff.
yeah, yeah. We talked about that a little bit last
Yeah.
episode because we actually reviewed Texas
You
Chainsaw
there's a
Massacre.
massacre, yeah.
If anyone's interested and hasn't checked out episode 59, we did a full breakdown and review of
Yeah.
that movie on there. So,
Yeah.
anyways, uh, that's it. That's it for 5.
Yeah, I mean yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just making sure. Number 4, I have Michael Myers from Halloween. He is probably, if you went on the street and said, "Who's your favorite horror killer?" Most people would probably say Michael Myers. I
Yeah.
think he is the slasher. He's probably like the first slasher, if you think about it. 1978 is when Halloween came out. Most of these other guys kind of followed that. I know Leatherface obviously didn't, but he's not really a slasher per
Slasher, yeah.
se. And he has an iconic look. I like how he is supposed to be just an embodiment of evil.
Evil,
He's
yeah.
just pure evil. It's impossible to kill him.
There's no like just what's the word?
There's no like rhyme or reason to why he
Yeah,
kills.
yeah.
It's just
He
he just
just
kills just because he's evil.
yeah.
And I like how powerful he is in the movies. I'm David Gordon Green trilogy, eh, not the best. I like Halloween
I don't really
Kills,
like it. I
and
think
I
they're
like
all
the first one. End sucked, but
I think
yeah,
it's better than the Rob Zombie ones.
eh, I kind of like the Rob Zombie ones a little. If Rob Zombie directed it and didn't write it, I would have liked it a lot more. But
Yeah.
yeah, his
Yeah.
dialogue is fucking
Weird.
insane.
Um but yeah. Number 4, I actually had the Xenomorph, which is a little I don't know if that's a little out of the box, but it's honestly the Xenomorph is fucking terrifying. And it's such a cool design, and it's such like a distinct like the acid blood, the hissing, like it has so many things like so iconic that you relate just to. Like I feel like anytime I think of acid, I always just think of the alien, or like I don't know, any type of any when I hear the word alien, I just associate this creature with it in my head.
Yeah, it's not like the traditional horror icon per
Yeah,
se, but it definitely counts.
yeah,
It is an iconic horror character. I don't know if you
yeah.
want to call it a character, but
I guess if you want to say this like the mother xenomorph from like
from from
the second one
Aliens.
from Aliens,
Yeah, I guess
but
that one is at least distinct.
yeah.
You know,
Or the
but
creature from Romulus.
the
Do they have a name
Offspring.
for that?
Yeah, it's the Offspring.
Oh, the Offspring.
Yeah. Um. All right. So number 3, you mentioned this character already, is
Hmm.
Chucky from Child's Play.
Yeah,
I know as a kid, Chucky's always just been a part of my life.
yeah,
We were both terrified of him as a kid. It was
yeah,
like bad. It was
yeah,
bad. Where we had to go through like an intervention of having Chucky introduced into our lives to realize that it's like not real, you know. Um or what, you don't remember that?
No, no, of course I remember. What do you mean? I don't
Yeah.
remember that, dude.
You're trying to make me look crazy on here?
No, no. So of course, bro. I used forget alone Chucky. My sister used to have like a talking like doll that would tell you to feed it, and like we dead ass. I remember like we wouldn't go to sleep until like we made our mom take the batteries out of the doll or like something stupid like that. Like
Yeah.
Chucky had a very scarring impact on our childhood.
Yeah, I don't know why. It was just something
Yeah,
about
I don't know why
dolls.
either. I don't even think we ever watched the movies. It was just like,
So I don't know. There was something about Killer Dolls always got to me as a
yeah,
kid, but Yeah, like you mentioned before, Chucky is hilarious. I like him a lot now because he's just really funny. I like his banter when and how he just curses at people before he kills them,
Yeah,
and he's just like a fun slasher. You can't help but to just root for him to just kill people, you
yeah.
know? So,
The series is good too. I don't know if you've ever watched it, but
it's on my list. I'll get to it at
he's
some
kind of
point.
like a. He's not like a. I mean, he's not a good person in it either, but he's like his motives are a little different.
Yeah.
But yeah. What are we on number three?
Yeah, number 3.
Number three. I have Michael Myers. Like you said, it's probably like the most common answer when people think of like a horror icon. It's just so synonymous with Halloween, obviously because of the title. The mute. I mean, I don't know if you really count this with the horror icon, but like the score of his is kind of very like a big deal with him.
Yeah, he almost has a theme song,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
mean, yeah, he does kind of honestly. And now that I think about it, but yeah, that was my number three.
Alright, number 2, I have Pinhead from Hellraiser. This is one that I never really was into Hellraiser as a kid, and I'm bringing up, like, as a kid a lot because we used to love
Horror
horror
as a
as
kid,
a
yeah,
kid. Loved all these icons. We had, like, bobbleheads
yeah,
of Freddy and Jason and everything. But Hellraiser was just one that I never really got into. I kinda only discovered it a few years ago, and I instantly just love the Cenobites.
yeah.
I really love Pinhead, how, you're making a deal with the devil when you open the box. Like, he's not necessarily
He's not good or evil.
good. Yeah, he's not good or bad. He's just showing you the infinite pleasures
The,
of life that you can experience.
yeah.
I mean, I don't really understand, like, fully the Cenobites deals. I think they're
They're
saying,
supposed to
like,
be like they explore the line. They think the line between pleasure and pain is like the same. So
yeah,
like they just kind of like I guess like are pushing the boundaries of what pleasure and pain is.
yeah. I love his look.
Yeah,
Like,
the looks of the Cenobites are really
they're
good.
just
And even
really cool.
the new Pinhead was like it was distinct enough to like stand on its own, but I thought it didn't look like horrible either.
Yeah. No, I like Jamie Clayton in that role.
Yeah. There's like the skin dress kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
Yeah.
Pinhead, really cool.
Yeah.
I like how, yeah, he doesn't necessarily kill people. I think that's why some people may not rank him as high as I do, because he's not physically doing any of the it's not like he's chopping someone up with a butcher knife or something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, the only time he really kills people is, Hellraiser 3,
And he
that
goes to the fucking
that club scene,
the club scene.
which is one of my favorite scenes in the whole franchise, where he just basically murders the entire club. He and, yeah, that movie is goofy,
Yeah.
but it might be controversial, but yeah, Pinhead's
I don't
number
think.
2.
All right. Number two for me, I actually have Freddy from Nightmare on Elm Street. Um, this was probably he has the most personality out of any of the horror icons in my opinion. Robert Englund's so iconic in the role, and I just think it's hysterical. Like the way he banters with his victims, and the kills and the way he kills people are super unique. It's like terrifying having someone like literally kill you in your dreams. That's like I don't know. I think he's probably one of the most iconic horror icons ever. I know Matt, you obviously I feel like this is gonna be your number one, but
Yeah, to get to my number 1, I had Freddy Krueger from
yeah,
Nightmare on Elm Street. I always loved Freddy, even when I was young. I know I was like a Freddy person, you were a Jason person. I
yeah,
I feel like we
yeah,
would have arguments over who would win, you know?
yeah,
And yeah, just his whole deal, like, he fucks with his victims. He
yeah,
doesn't simply just kill them. He makes fun of them while he does it, and he was the first horror icon to have that personality.
yeah.
There was always before him was Jason, before him was, Michael
Michael Myers,
Myers, Leatherface.
Ace,
They all were stoic killers. So, just his character in general, you're taking a risk, like, will audiences like this, you know?
yeah,
It's someone who's supposed to be scary and is supposed to be ominous, and they're cracking jokes. But I just think it works so well, and I think a lot of that has to do with Robert Englund's performance. If
yeah,
you think about actors that are synonymous with their characters in terms of these horror icons, it's definitely him above anyone else. I don't even know who would be next, like Doug Bradley as Pinhead. Like, who even I know Kane Hodder played Jason, but, like, no one really
No
fucking
one really,
knows
yeah.
that.
But there's no like performance with it.
Yeah. Uh, so, I don't know, just
Yeah, like I
pretty
feel like
self-explanatory
it's.
for me,
I
but
mean, it's pretty obvious that Freddy Krueger's very hard to replicate without Robert Englund.
yeah, they tried it,
They
failed
tried it,
miserably,
failed miserably. Yeah,
but
but
yeah, I just think he's probably also the most unique out of any of these guys. He stands apart, and his fucking weapon is sick too.
yeah,
It's an iconic weapon,
weapon.
and
Yeah,
it's, you know,
yeah.
gotta respect it, so
But spoiler for me for number one, I actually had Pinhead as well. Well, not as well, but you're number two. Again, one that, like you said, we didn't really watch as a kid. That I started. I think I actually watched for the podcast. I believe.
was that your
Um,
first time, really?
no, it wasn't my first time, but like I just haven't watched it in a very long time. And just I love the Cenobites. I just think they were so cool and the way they like torture people and their looks. And I even really love the new Cenobites as well. I'm very excited to see where they go with that. I kind of Matt, you read the book, right? I haven't read the book.
Yeah, it's you should read it, it's a short
Yeah,
read, it's called The Hellbound Heart,
yeah. So
and it's interesting, though, because Clive Barker, he wrote the book and then directed the movie, so it's just, like, his straight adaptation, which is kinda cool.
is the book like any? Is there any like major differences or not really?
There's a couple things, not really anything that I could point out as being drastically different, but it's
Yeah,
pretty spot on, and the way that the characters are described is pretty cool.
yeah.
And I know, like, a big thing is Pinhead in the book is not described as being a male or female. It's
It's just like
which
an
is
entity, right?
yeah, that's kinda why, like, I don't think people really got tight when Jamie Clayton was cast as Pinhead,
No, I don't really.
but it makes sense because, they
Yeah,
never
it's just
really
supposed to be. It like I feel like the Cenobites. It doesn't matter. They could like it's just people. You know,
yeah,
they don't
yeah,
really need a boy or girl specifically to play the character.
yeah. Alright, but
Yeah,
that wraps up the list. That was fun.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it was cool to just kinda for me personally, just to rank these, actually, like, put them in a list and see who I like more than who. It was pretty cool.
yeah. There's a
Also, like, the
lot. I didn't
time of
realize
year.
how many like horror icons there actually
Yeah, I think I,
are.
like, missed a couple. I mean, obviously, I didn't put any of the Universal monsters on mine. I
Yeah, I
don't
mean, I had
know.
Frankenstein just because I
Yeah,
yeah.
if I had to put one, I'd probably put Dracula. I'm a big fan of vampires, and there's no vampire on my list. You know what? It's
Yeah,
interesting
actually,
how
I'm
there
surprised. You're a
isn't
big vampire dude.
but there also isn't, like, a vampire horror icon besides Dracula.
Nosferatu.
That might be an untapped market, or, like, a
Nos-
modern one, I'll say.
uh, Blade, I guess.
He's
Technically,
like he's half vamp. He's
yeah.
a daywalker.
Daywalker. Yeah, dude. Honestly, you're right. I'm trying to think of like. I guess Edward from Twilight. That would be the right.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I was about to say that, yeah. But alright, um, I guess we can move on to the final movie.
yeah,
You recommended it, Joe, so if you
yeah. I'm gonna
wanna
pull up the synopsis right now. So, this week I actually recommended the movie Suspiria, directed by Dario Argento. Excuse me, an American newcomer to a prestigious German ballet academy comes to realize that the school is a front for something sinister amid a series of grisly murders. So, this is something that I've always heard good things about. I knew pretty much nothing about it besides that took place at a dance school. I actually really liked it. It's definitely, in my opinion, very ahead of its time in terms of the way it's shot and a lot of the lighting in the movies and stuff like that. Um, I would actually before I go into other stuff. Do you agree, Matt? I was gonna say,
yeah, I love Suspiria. It's definitely a different kinda horror movie for the time. This
yeah.
came out in '77, so 2 years before Halloween. Uh,
Wow,
what is
that's
that? Th
crazy. Not like
3
that.
years after Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so sandwiched between those, this is a very different kinda horror film
Yeah,
compared to what was coming out at the time. What were you gonna say? Wow, what?
like I didn't realize how close it was to like how Texas Chainsaw Massacre and or
Yeah. It's like at this
Excuse me.
kind of around the same time, like late 70s,
Yeah.
or mid to late 70s.
But it just feels like for the type of movie it is, it doesn't feel like a movie that came out during that time.
It feels like older almost.
Yeah.
I don't know why,
The
but
dialogue.
yeah, Argento, I'm a big fan of him and his style. He's an Italian director, so there's not
Yeah, this
like
is my first movie I've seen by him.
yeah, he's made a bunch of horror films, and I've seen a couple. Deep Red is really good. There's also like an unofficial trilogy that Suspiria is a part of. The
Yeah,
next
you
one's
were
called
telling me.
Inferno. I've seen that. You'll probably watch it at some point,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But yeah,
But
this is like basically a female-led story with like pretty much all female characters. There's a couple
yeah,
male characters, but
but they're not really relevant to the story.
yeah, I was trying to look because the movie is very confusing at
Yeah,
points. Eventually, at the end, they kind of explain what's going on and how there's witches that are actually at this academy. But especially that opening kill and like just that how that whole sequence is edited and filmed is like
yeah,
just
very weird.
insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Um,
Something about that kill is like so brutal too.
yeah, it's very visceral. And I was trying to do some research on the movie, and Argento said that he really wanted that first kill to be very brutal and
Yeah,
very graphic so that people kind of were like, all right, what's going on here? You
yeah.
know? And I think it works. I think he achieved what he was going for there.
Doesn't he like make a hole in her chest and like put the rope through it?
Does he? I thought he like, well, isn't the rope like around her neck and he pushes her through that window
Oh yeah, you're right. I don't
in
know
the
when he
ceiling?
first did it. I thought he like cut a hole in her like her chest and like put the rope through that.
I
Like oh
don't
my
think
god,
so. I mean,
that would have been
eh,
even worse,
honestly,
honestly.
there's similar kills like that in Deep Red.
Yeah,
Um,
I may have watched
but
Deep Red.
yeah, the editing is crazy, but this
Yeah,
is
yeah,
in this film, and the only film that I could say it comes close to this is Blade Runner 2049, but the use of color
color.
here
Yeah,
is just insane. It's unlike how everything is lit, just the way that the colors are
even
used.
the textures of the sets is just like
Yeah, the
I have the
production,
attention. Yeah, I've never
everything
seen
is just
anything like that in a movie.
it's just so out there. It's really unique. It's really colorful,
And this
and
came
I
out what 40 years ago, even
more.
longer than that.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
what? Yeah, it's pretty crazy. In terms of like the story itself, it does feel a bit basic. Like there is this mystery of what's going on, and eventually it's revealed. But for
yeah,
this,
it's
like
not a
I'm
super
not,
like
yeah, I'm not bothered by that. You know, I'm kind of just taking everything in, watching
yeah.
this. It's more of like a visual experience than anything.
I agree.
I don't think the characters are necessarily memorable. I just think it's more about the
Visuals and
the backgrounds and the visuals, the costumes, the
yeah.
just how everything looks.
The
You
music's
know,
also very good too.
yeah, very good music, very eerie.
Yeah,
Um, there's parts of the score where you hear kinda, like, screaming in the background.
yeah. It
I
is like a
like
really eerie movie. That's a good way to describe it. I
it's
wouldn't necessarily
unsettling.
call yeah, yeah. It's not like scary per se, but
Yeah, there's just it makes you, like, feel uneasy.
uneasy, yeah.
There's just honestly, that at the end, that sort of, like, the last sequence where basically the witch is controlling that dead person to come kill
Oh, to
the
come and
main
attack
character.
her. Yeah.
There's something about the design of that, like, dead person that's just really
I think
it
it's the
makes me really
eyes.
I
It's
think it's
something with
the
the
eyes.
eyes, yeah.
It looks like they have no eyelids. It just looks like there's eyes
Because I
in
think it's just because
in
it's
their
white,
face.
so it like blends in, like because they have the white makeup on.
Yeah. There's something really creepy about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I agree.
But, yeah, talking about, more about the color, I actually I read that apparently Argento told the cinematographer to watch Snow White and then model the colors off that.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't
Huh.
that's pretty cool.
It is pretty. And now, I
And
mean, if you think about it, it kind of makes sense.
yeah, it does.
Yeah,
It's like the 7 dwarves and all that
yeah,
stuff, and you see that brightness,
yeah.
that
And
brightness.
the black and red is from like the Evil Queen.
Yeah,
Wow, that's really cool.
yeah.
Mm.
In terms of, like, the witches, what did you think of there being that supernatural element?
That
I
was
kinda
fine. I
I
didn't really
liked it.
mind it. Yeah, it was like What is it that they eat them to make themselves look younger?
I don't. I mean, is that implied?
That's
Maybe
what
I
I
don't.
kind of took. That they drink their blood or something.
I don't really know. Like that's why this. That's like the one thing that holds this movie back for me. Is just
Is
like
yeah, it's not fully explained like
the
what.
story is kind
Yeah,
of like what like okay, what did I just watch? You know,
yeah,
but at the same time, like I just don't care because it
yeah.
looks
No,
so good.
yeah,
Yeah, but if that kind of is the main thing about the movie, it does become a little bit difficult to talk about. You
yeah,
know, because it's hard to break stuff down if
yeah.
the characters themselves aren't that memorable. Maybe we could talk about some of our favorite scenes.
Oh my god, I mean, this is tough. 'Cause I feel
Yeah.
like there's so many scenes in this movie. Excuse me. That you could just take a picture of it and it would look like the best shot that you've seen in like a horror movie. Like it's just them like even like just an example. That scene when she first walks in that kind of blue room with the staircase, like with the gold kind
Mhm.
of
Yeah.
bro, like every single scene of them just panning at people is like it's just it looks amazing.
Yeah, like the scene of them swimming, that shot,
Yeah.
that looked really good.
Um.
That I like that kill where I forget what the name of the girl is, but she goes into the barbed wire and like the whole
Oh
room is
yeah.
just everything's blue.
Blue. Yeah.
Just like it's interesting.
Yeah.
Just the
I
use
like
of
how
color is interesting.
in
Excuse
certain
me.
like scenes the lighting would change and then like if a person would walk to one end of the room to the other like the lighting for them would change too.
Yeah, it's just some really cool filmmaking
Yeah.
techniques.
I noticed that the main character they always shot her in like red light.
Yeah, that I noticed that as well. There's probably like subliminal reasoning
Some
for
type of
all
meaning
this.
with that, yeah.
I was reading that apparently like the movie is supposed to be about motherhood, but I don't
Really?
necessarily
I mean,
see that. I
we're
don't
not
know.
mothers, so I can't really attest.
Yeah. But
But
I like the scene where that blind character goes to that courtyard and then there's
oh, with
sorta
like
it's like
the
implied that there's like a demon or something
thing there, and then the
around
dog
there.
attacks him.
Yeah, the dog kills him. I thought that was
Yeah,
really cool. It's just like
yeah,
it kinda separates itself from the rest of the movie. Like
yeah.
a lot of you can group together a bunch of other scenes, but that is
This one
kinda
stands out.
distinct.
Yeah.
Um,
Was that your favorite scene in the movie?
I don't know. It's one of them. I like the maggots falling. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, the opening scene, honestly, just yeah, I feel like it just sticks out to me so well.
Yeah. That first introduction to, like, the castle that they're staying at or, like,
Yeah,
the school, and you see
it's
all the
just so
colors and then
like yeah, it's just where was it? Like, did they build that set or that's like an actual?
I would assume they built it. I don't know if places like that exist. They might, but
Yeah.
do you wanna,
Ooh,
bro, are you
but
tired today?
yeah, I don't know what's with me. I don't feel tired. I just keep yawning.
Well, once you think about yawning, you can't stop,
Yeah,
so,
no.
um,
Do I
but
sound
anyways.
tired? I feel like
No, you don't. You keep it in the yawn sesh, though.
yeah.
Favorite character? Susie? I like
Yeah,
Susie.
Susie.
I like the mother like, the main
That like kind of
witch, too.
uh,
I forget her
not what's her
name.
name? Is it
Is it
Olga?
yeah, maybe Olga? No, Olga's her friend. Let me look on Letterboxd.
Yeah, I'm gonna look now.
I think it's Sonia,
Miss Tanner,
Miss Tanner. Possibly, possibly.
Sarah. No, Sarah's a friend.
Yeah. No, but the character that's the thing, like, the characters in the story are not necessarily, like, memorable, but that's not why I love this movie so much. I
Yeah,
just love it because of how it makes me feel and just how everything looks, you know?
I agree.
So, honestly,
So
I would get to ratings unless you wanna say anything else.
I was gonna ask you because I know I haven't seen there's a remake of this, directed by Luca Guadagnino that came out in 2018. I haven't seen it. You have, right?
Yeah, I've seen it.
So what like how would you compare it to like is it I'm assuming it's less of a visual experience.
Yeah, definitely. It still looks good visually, but
Hmm.
they don't have
As much color.
nearly as much color. It
That's
feels like 2
disappointing.
completely different films. They're obviously both, like, about a girl coming into a ballet school and there's witches, but the new one kind of feels very much like typical A24 elevated horror
Yeah.
compared to, which I get they're trying to address some of the issues with the first one with the story and delving more into the characters. I'm pretty sure it's like almost an hour longer, which a lot of that
Yeah,
is
it is.
used to sort of give more of a backstory on the characters, which is
Yeah.
good in some ways because then you care about them a little bit more. But you know, the first one, what I love so much is just that visual journey. So I really like the second one, but I prefer the first, or not second, the remake, but I
Yeah.
prefer the original.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but yeah, I was gonna say we can get the ratings now. I gave it 4 stars, so I gave it 8 out of 10. The thing that holds it back for me is that it's the poor editing and just this confusion with the story and the plot. But everything else about this movie is great, like the color, the set designs, the music. You know, even some of the kills are really cool. Just the plot just needs a little fixing, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Would you
yeah,
give it?
I gave Suspiria 4.5 stars. I gave it a 9 out of 10. I don't even know exactly what it is that makes me like this movie so much. I know I mentioned the color. I mentioned how the film just makes me feel in general, and you know, definitely there could be some improvements with the character development and making us care a little bit more about the characters and giving a little bit more of a compelling story, compelling mystery. But just it's such a visual masterpiece
Yeah,
in how color is used. And I just haven't really seen a film do something similar to that, you know?
yeah,
So it's so unique in that way. I don't necessarily find it scary, but I just really like it. It's just one of those movies that I really love, but can't really fully justify,
yeah.
you know?
That's fair. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, would you give it?
4.5.
Oh, 4. Okay.
So, all right.
So yeah,
I guess that'll wrap it up, right?
yeah.
I think we might have a couple questions before we
Oh,
move on.
nice.
Thanks for recommending that, though. I was glad to check it out
Yeah.
again.
Nah, I really liked it, honestly.
So let's check the. Also, I'll use this as a quick moment. Um, so for those of you who don't know, uh, our good friend Michael Costa, he was on one of our podcast episodes. He's actually currently making a found footage horror film called the Willowbrook Tapes. I'll actually be serving as an executive producer on it, so I'm helping him out a lot with a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. But the Indiegogo, the crowdfunding campaign, actually just went live like a couple days ago. So we encourage everyone to at least check it out. If you go on there, you could see, synopsis of what the movie's about. You could watch the campaign video. You can look at some first look images, stuff like that. And if you feel inclined, if you have some spare money laying around, want to donate, there are certain perks you could get. For example, like you could have your name put in the credits. You could get a shout out on social media. If you want to pay enough, you could get a signed poster, a signed script, or even become an executive producer if you have $1,000 laying around. But definitely check that out. I'll link it in the description of this episode, and I'll put it on our Instagram as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely check that out. But, anyways, let's get to these questions that you fine folks and fans have asked us. Here we go. Here we go. Give me a sec. Sorry, I should have this
Very
prepared.
good.
Okay. This is from at Anton_Kino Love on Instagram. Thank you for the question. What's your favorite John Carpenter horror movie? I gotta go with The Thing.
Yeah, the thing. I know that's basic, but
I mean, he is. It's really between two, like
yeah,
The Thing
I think
or Halloween.
Halloween. Yeah,
He has a couple other good ones, but I prefer The Thing. I feel like
yeah.
Halloween as a film is a little bit overrated. Michael Myers is a great character, but that
I
film
feel
in
like the
general
the
is.
the thing is like deeper meanings. It's like a little more out deeper.
Mhm.
Um,
So, all right, thanks
but
for the
yeah,
question. Then from at it's Yoshi_IG. Favorite Halloween themed icon. I'm pretty sure
or
you meant horror
the
icon.
icon.
We already
Uh,
went through that earlier.
I mean, I guess you could for Halloween icon. I mean, I guess I don't know. You could say that. I guess Michael Myers or like the trick or treat guy. I don't know. Trying to think of like Halloween specific.
Yeah. I'm assuming he meant like horror icons,
Yeah.
but I'll say Freddy Krueger. That's what I said before.
Yeah, I'll say
But if you're
Pinhead.
talking about like Halloween, I might have to say Jack Skellington for that. Honestly, I feel like Jack
Good one.
Skellington's a good one.
It is a good one.
But all right, that's our only 2 questions this week. I
Uh,
didn't really put up the poll up in time, but that's all right. I gotta be more on that. Also, I always mention this, but if you guys want to ask us a question, just send us a
yeah.
DM and ask
Don't
us.
hesitate.
We'll answer it. Yeah, you don't necessarily have to wait for the story poll. And yeah, you could even get a shout out. We'll say your name on the episode,
Yeah.
so it'll be a good feeling to hear that.
Yeah.
All right. I guess you want to recommend your list, Joe, and then I'll say what movie we'll
Yeah.
be watching next week.
I actually have an interesting list number. I was picked. So the top 10 summer blockbusters. So what qualifies this is like a movie that had a release between like May and July, and it had to be like a successful hit in the summer.
Okay. That's a
I
good
listen.
one.
We've been getting. I'm trying to think of like some different
No, it's a
things.
good
We've been
one.
doing lists for a
It's a good
while.
one. I'm just thinking of like I'm obviously gonna have to do some research on this one,
Yeah.
but definitely some Avengers films gonna be in there.
Avengers, like, bro, just think about like all the movies when we were like fucking Pirates of the Caribbean, the Transformers movie, like all stuff like
Yeah. All right. So I know we've been doing a lot of horror recently. I want to switch it up. I'm gonna do a comedy for the next episode. I don't know if you've seen this movie, but a lot of my friends have told me to watch this movie, and it's the film Swingers from 1996. It's directed by Doug
Ah,
Liman, stars Jon Favreau and Vince Vaughn. And to give you a little synopsis, it says after 6 years together, Mike's girlfriend leaves him, so he travels to LA to be a star. 6 months on, he's still not doing very well, so a few of his friends try to reconnect him to the social scene and hopefully help him forget his failed relationship. Uh, I won't say why I'm recommended this, but I think it'll be good for us to watch this. I'll just say that.
I feel like I know why you recommended this.
It's a good film for both of us to watch, I feel like.
Yeah,
And my friends have told me to watch this.
yeah.
So hopefully it hits
Excuse me.
harder. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll
I'm
see.
looking forward to watching it. So, all right.
Poster's cool.
Yeah, it looks cool. Looks like a
Yeah.
cool vibe. Anyways,
Oh, we got to do the
thank.
giveaway.
Oh yeah, shit. Thanks for reminding me. All right, so we're giving away a letterboxed Halloween theme shirt, and
Yeah,
we put up a tweet. There were some qualifications to enter. You had to like retweet it, like it. I forget what I said, but we picked a
follow us.
winner. Yeah, we picked a winner. So hopefully you're listening to this. But if not, I'll post this later. I'll reach out to you. Anyways, so the winner of the giveaway is Primetime Mitch at PT Mitch Cassidy on X/Twitter. If you're listening right now, which I highly doubt, thank you very much, and DM us and we'll send the shirt to you.
Shirt, yeah. It's very
If
nice. The
not,
shirt.
yeah. What'd you say? Sorry, Joe.
So it's very nice. The shirt.
Yeah, it is really nice. If not, we'll just keep it for ourselves. And
Yeah,
no, I'm kidding. No, I'll reach out to you for if you don't send a DM within like the next week or so.
yeah,
But yeah, stay tuned on our Twitter and our Instagram, honestly, for more giveaways. We do them pretty often. I like giving stuff back to you guys,
yeah.
you loyal fans. If anyone's still here, thanks for listening. Please follow us on our socials. We have Instagram, we have X, we have TikTok. If you're not following us on TikTok, please do. That's kind of the platform that I've been trying to work the hardest on building up, making a lot of videos for you guys. I don't know if everyone's aware that we have that, but definitely give us a follow there on our link tree.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please rate us 5 stars if you feel like we deserve it. Same goes for Spotify. If you're listening on YouTube, give us a like. And yeah, I guess that'll wrap up. Joe, you got anything else
Yeah.
to leave the
No,
fans off with?
I feel like we pretty much hit everything we were supposed to talk about.
I believe we did. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.